What's up YouTube, Zero here, and today I have, that's right, just a Leafeon deck. Leafeon EX coupled with a non-EX Leafeon. In this video, I'll go over the deck build that you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. I'll talk about each of these cards individually, I'll talk about why they work so well with each other, and I'll talk about why you should definitely check this deck out. I've gone toe-to-toe with some of the best decks in the game. You can actually see in the first clip, I'm going against a Giratina, Sylveon EX, and a Greninja deck, and I was able to take it out. So it's something that this deck can go toe-to-toe with some of the best decks in the game and defeat them. So you're going to have a lot of fun with this. It's a fun deck to play with, and I was having a blast with it, especially because I love evolutions in general. Before I get into it, I do want to say if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more Pokemon TCG content. Do a bunch of other video games, so feel free to check those out as well. Without further ado, let's talk about this deck and the stars of the deck, both of the Leafeons. I will start with Leafeon EX that has been in the game since the Triumphant Light packs. You'll find this Leafeon EX in the Triumphant Light packs if you do need to unlock it. So Leafeon EX has a couple of benefits. Of course, it has a move and it has its ability. First, its move Solar Beam. For 1 grass energy and 2 colorless energy, deals 70 damage. So on first look, you may say that's not great, and you're absolutely right. 70 damage for 3 energy is pretty awful. However, Leafeon EX has an ability, Forest Breath. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may take a grass energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your grass Pokemon. So that includes Leafeon EX. If Leafeon EX is in the active slot and it does already have 1 energy on it, you can take an energy from the energy zone, then you can utilize Forest Breath, attach it to the Leafeon EX, and start attacking. So essentially, Solar Beam can really be 2-turn move. Even though it is 3 energy, it's a 2-turn move because of Forest Breath. So it's not necessarily the worst move in the world, considering Leafeon EX's ability. But Forest Breath is going to be really important with the other Leafeon that's in this deck. So I want to talk about that Leafeon, and then I'll talk about the EVs. So let's talk about the other Leafeon in this deck. So this is going to be the Leafeon with Leaf Blast that you can find in the EV Grove packs. So Leafeon with Leaf Blast. For 1 colorless energy, it's 10 plus. So on initial look, 10 plus. 10 damage is not great, even for 1 energy. It's awful, especially for a stage 1 Pokemon. However, this attack does 20 more damage for each grass energy attached to this Pokemon. So if you have 1 grass energy attached to the Pokemon, it's already doing 30 damage. So that's pretty awesome. Coupled with Leafeon EX, after Leafeon EX is already powered up and attacking, so you have Leafeon EX in that active slot attacking for 70 damage while you're building up your non-EX Leafeon on the bench. It'll only take a couple of turns for Leafeon with Leaf Blast to get ready to deal a ton of damage, because after Leafeon EX is already powered up, already has 3 energy on it, you can equip the energy from the energy zone as well as the energy from Forest Breath onto the non-EX Leafeon. Meaning every turn you can get 2 energy on this non-EX Leafeon, powering it up even further. So after just about 3 turns, that's 6 energy. So 6 multiplied by 20 is 120. Plus 10, you have 130 damage after about 3 turns after your Leafeon EX is already powered up and attacking. Of course, you can also just put your Leafeon EX in the active slot so you can already start building up energy on Leafeon. However, I don't necessarily recommend that because Leafeon EX, when it goes down, you are losing 2 points, and non-EX Leafeon only has 90 HP, so it can be taken out pretty easily by a powerful EX Pokemon. I wouldn't necessarily rely just on non-EX Leafeon to get you to the finish line. I would power up Leafeon EX first, start attacking with it, and then start powering up your non-EX Leafeon. So by the end of the match, your non-EX Leafeon is essentially your closer, dealing 130 or 150 damage, depending upon how much energy you already have built up on it. But it's really nice as a closer after you've built up a lot of energy on it. So now let's talk about how we get to both of these Leafeons. There are 2 EVs that I have in this deck, 2 different types of EVs. The first is the non-EX EV. It's the EV for 1 colorless energy. Collect, you draw a card. This is nice because you can get to cards quicker in your deck. The second EV in this deck is going to be EV-EX. This is where you're going to be allowed to have 2 Leafeons. You're going to be able to evolve into 4 Leafeons. EV-EX is absolutely fantastic because of its ability. VV-Evolve. This Pokemon can evolve into any Pokemon that evolves from Eevee if you play it from your hand onto this Pokemon. So that's pretty awesome that you can evolve into any evolution, which is going to make this deck possible. So you have a pair of Eevees, a pair of EV-EXs, a pair of Leafeon EXs, and a pair of Leafeons, which is going to make this a sole Leafeon deck. On top of that, EV-EX does have a move, Bite. For 1 colorless energy, you deal 30 damage, which actually isn't too bad to begin a game, because if you're facing a Pokemon that requires a lot of energy to build up, you can just chip away with your 30s while you're waiting for that evolution to come to your hand, or at least until you can evolve into a stronger Pokemon. You can find EV-EX in the EV Grove packs. Let's talk about the rest of this deck and why this is absolutely amazing. First, a couple of cards that are pretty basic in all of my decks. Pokeball, draw a basic Pokemon from your deck into your hand, and Professor's Research, you draw 2 cards. Pretty basic. Let's talk about some of the other cards that really make this work. EV Bag. EV Bag is absolutely phenomenal, especially when coupled with non-EX Leafeon. So EV Bag, you get to choose one. So you have an option with this card. You can either, during this turn, attacks used by your Pokemon that evolve from EV do plus 10 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, or you heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon that evolves from EV. So you can either heal your Pokemon evolutions for 20, or you can attack for an extra 10. And you can actually utilize 2 EV Bags in 1 turn. So that means you can do an extra 20 damage. That means on your non-EX Leafeon, depending upon how many grass energies you have on that Pokemon, you can deal an extra 20 damage if you have EV Bag in your hand. So you may be at 130 with all of your leaf energies, your grass energies, throw out 2 EV Bags, and now you're at 150. So that's pretty awesome that you can deal with EV Bag an extra 20 damage. That's really cool, meaning you can take out, of course, depending upon how much grass energy you have equipped on non-EX Leafeon, you can take out any Pokemon in the game. You just have to find a way to, of course, build up that grass energy, and that's why Leafeon EX is so perfect with non-Leafeon EX. Of course, you can also heal up if you really need to with EV Bag, and EV Bag is going to be found in the EV Grove packs. Next, I love Leaf Cape in this deck. Of course, it's a grass deck. Leaf Cape is great with grass type Pokemon. So Leaf Cape, the grass Pokemon this card is attached to, gets plus 30 HP. This is going to increase the survivability of both non-EX Leafeon and Leafeon EX. It's going to make it so you can attach more energy onto your non-EX Leafeon, making it even more potent than before, which is absolutely fantastic. This is a great card to have, a great tool to have in any grass deck, but especially this grass deck. And you can find Leaf Cape in Celestial Guardian Solgaleo packs. Next, Erica. Erica is another card that's going to increase the survivability of the cards in this deck. Of course, Leafeon EX in that active slot is going to be taking a lot of hits. It doesn't dish out a lot of damage. It's 70 damage, so you're not going to be one-hit KOing many Pokemon, especially the tough Pokemon. So you're going to have to find a way to stay alive. Erica is a great way to do so. Erica, you heal 50 damage from one of your grass Pokemon. So I absolutely love Erica. Increases the survivability of Leafeon EX, especially when coupled with Leaf Cape, giving that extra 30 HP. So Leafeon EX is going to be in that active slot, dishing out 70 damage while building up energy on your non-EX Leafeon on the bench. So when Leafeon EX is eventually taken out, or when you feel as though you have enough energy built up on your Leafeon on the bench, you can retreat your Leafeon EX and just start dealing massive amounts of damage. So I absolutely love Erica in this deck, and you can find it in the Genetic Apex Charizard packs. Last but not least, I have one of each of my favorite trainer cards. I have one Sabrina and one Cyrus. So Sabrina, you switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. Of course, your opponent gets to choose the Pokemon on the bench that they put in that active slot, but it performs numerous functions. I mentioned them in my videos previously, and I mentioned them here again. It can throw off your opponent's strategy. It can get a Pokemon out of that active slot that you don't want there. It could potentially get to a Pokemon on the bench that you would rather attack. It's a phenomenal card for many reasons. It's a great way to throw off your opponent's strategy, and you can find Sabrina in the Genetic Apex Charizard packs. Last but not least, Cyrus. Cyrus is needed in this deck, and you could perhaps go with two Cyruses over a Cyrus and a Sabrina, but I like being able to have the option. But Leafeon EX isn't dealing a lot of damage, meaning you're going to give your opponent a lot of opportunities to retreat weakened Pokemon in the hopes that they can save their points. Cyrus isn't going to allow your opponent to do so. Cyrus, you switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has damage on it to the active slot. Since you're not going to be one-hit KOing a lot of Pokemon, you're going to want to take those weakened Pokemon from the bench, put them back in the active slot so you can take them out. Your opponents are going to try to save their points by retreating their weakened Pokemon. Cyrus is going to make sure you don't let them. So Cyrus is going to be extremely important for this deck. And Cyrus is going to be found in the Space Time Smackdown Palkia packs. So that's the deck. Leafeon EX and Leafeon are the stars of this deck, and they actually work really well with each other. Leafeon EX is a great Pokemon to get into that active slot early, to start dealing early damage, and to start building up grass energy on your non-EX Leafeon. Non-EX Leafeon is great to come in and act as the closer. After it has a bunch of grass energy built up on it, it can really take out a lot of strong Pokemon because of how much energy you can have equipped on it. I've dealt especially with EV Bag, coupling that with my non-EX Leafeon. I have dealt 150, 170 damage because I was able to build up so much energy on my non-EX Leafeon. So you can take out really any Pokemon in the game if you are lucky enough to build up that much energy. Of course, I have a couple of cards and items in this deck that help keep that Leafeon EX alive in the active slot so you can continue to build up energy on the bench. Leaf Cape is great for that, adding 30 HP to Leafeon EX, and Erica is also great, being able to heal Leafeon EX. On top of that, if you really need to, you can utilize EV Bag to heal up Leafeon EX as well, just in case you want to keep it alive a little bit longer to try and build up more energy onto your Leafeon on the bench. So you can utilize Erica coupled with a couple of EV Bags, meaning you can deal or heal up to 90 HP in one turn, which is absolutely awesome. That's a lot of healing that you can have on your Leafeon EX. I absolutely love this deck. I've competed with some of the best decks in the game. Y'all should definitely check this out. Let me know if you've tried a strategy similar to this deck with just Leafeons. Let me know in the comment section. Let me know which Leafeons you're going with. There are actually more than just these two Leafeons in Pokemon TCG Pocket right now, so be careful which ones you choose. You can probably switch some out and have some fun with it, but I really love these two in general because they play so well with each other. Leafeon EX, you can build up all of that energy on your non-EX Leafeon, and your non-EX Leafeon loves all of that extra energy because the more energy it gets, the more damage it's going to be dealing. So these two are a perfect pair, Leafeon plus Leafeon. It's an absolutely perfect pair, an absolutely great combination of Pokemon to have. And like I said earlier, I've competed with some of the best meta decks in the game right now, and I've been able to defeat them. So this deck is extremely viable, it's extremely good, and I absolutely love it. But let me know in the comments section if you've used something similar. Have you used a Leafeon EX Leafeon deck? And if you have, what do you think of it? Have you been doing as well as I have, and have you been enjoying it as much as I have? Let me know in the comments section. Let me know what card substitutions you would make to make this deck even better. Let me know in the comments section. If there is a Pokemon that you'd like to see a deck built around, let me know and I'll center something around that Pokemon. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Again, if you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more Pokemon TCG content. It does really help out me and my channel. Thank you so much in advance for doing so. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day, and until next time, peace.